Like millions across the United States, Mary Fish was tired of sheltering in place by May. For her, though, sheltering in place didn't mean confining herself to a house or even a small studio apartment. Instead, for Mary and the 1,122 other women at the Mabel Bassett Correctional Center, Oklahoma's maximum security prison for women, sheltering in place meant being locked in 8 by 12-foot cells or confined to cramped dormitories all day. It was a scenario repeated in thousands of jails and prisons across the United States. Prisons do not allow internet, so the Zoom calls crisscrossing the ether weren't an option. Neither were phone calls, which, even in non-pandemic times, cost 20 cents per minute and strained the budgets of women earning 35 cents an hour. The prison's phones were in the various day rooms or common areas. That spring, those rooms were off limits. But Mary wasn't totally alone. She had the misfortune of living in one of the prison's dormitories. For the next month, she was unable to escape the din of dozens of women living less than 4 feet apart from one another. Behind bars, everyone dreads the word lockdown. Under lockdown, every person in a housing unit, and sometimes the entire jail or prison, remains locked in their cell or confined to their dormitories for nearly 24 hours a day. They have no access to educational or vocational programs, visits, or calls. Meals are delivered to their cells and shoved through a slot in the door. Lockdowns can last days, weeks, or even months, and are typically a group punishment for events as minor as a dispute between a few people to as severe as a large-scale fight. In March 2020, the entire country would become familiar with that term and come to dread it just as much. That month, the novel coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, skyrocketed in New York City, overwhelming hospitals and overflowing morgues. Shortly after, jails and prisons across the country reported explosions of COVID-19. By May 2020, 30 of the 50 top outbreaks, including the 4 largest in the country, were inside jails and prisons.